Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. And before we do get started today, I just want to say a huge thank you to the artist in our community who was drawing my Roomba imagination from yesterday's video. Absolutely amazing. I've been sharing them over on Twitter, by the way, at Mark Narrations. Get involved over there. And let's get on with today's first story. Now, today's first story comes from the True Off My Chest subreddit with updates, of course, from Amazing Market 5387 and says, I heard my mother-in-law and husband's aunt talking about me and can't get over it. This is going to be long because there's a lot of context. I, 20 female, had a consensual arranged marriage to my husband, 23 male, and we have a beautiful 6-month-old boy. My mother, 45, and my mother-in-law, 42 female, are childhood friends. My mum got married and moved abroad and lost all contact with her best friend. We moved back home in 2018. My mum got in contact with my mother-in-law in 2019 and they started catching up. My mum ended up liking my husband, who is the oldest son, a lot. But it was my mother-in-law who asked for my hand. We are religious, so my husband and I only talked under supervision of parents, and damn, I fell in love. He is smart, good looking, and has a weird humor that I absolutely love. We got married pretty soon, which no one was expecting, but one thing led to another. The thing about me is that I cannot cook. I hate cooking or even being in the kitchen. I can do every other house chore, even laundry. My mum knew it and never forced me to be in the kitchen. In our culture, women belong in the kitchen, but obviously times are changing. My mum shared a concern on this and my mother-in-law shrugged it off, saying, I am young and will learn if I wanted to. Emphasis on the wanted to, because throughout my first year of marriage, she said that to everybody who asked if I knew how to cook. My mum still worried because she didn't want my mother-in-law to throw remarks about this, because that is what most mother-in-laws in my country do. I am also a student and also now a mother. It's hard to juggle all of this, which is why I try my best to take it easy on chores. I live with my in-laws and mostly do dishes or serve tea and biscuits to guests, and that is all. We also have a maid for cleaning the house and another maid for laundry. Many times I have offered to make food for the family, but my mother-in-law always laughed and said that she wasn't that old. I boasted about her to everybody, literally everybody. She is the kind of mother-in-law that girls in my country dream for. I've always loved her just like my mum and treated her as such. We do have some arguments, especially regarding the way I parent my son. She has some traditional views, whereas I believe in facts. But we have both compromised on many things and it has been working very well. I have to emphasize on one more thing, and that is that my husband is not a huge fan of homemade food. He rarely eats at home and loves having food from different places. He also does his best to have healthy options. Multiple times whenever he comes home, there is no food left for him. There's 7 people in the family and they eat a lot. So someday the food is really good, they finish it all up, because he comes home late at night. I feel very bad that my husband does not get his share, so I always volunteer to cook. But my husband shrugs it off like it's something he's used to and just orders something. I'm sharing this to tell you that I have no obligation to cook because my husband does not mind not having homemade food. Therefore, there is no rush for me to learn because it's my job to look after him and not the whole family. Back to my mother-in-law. She never told me to cook. A few times I have cooked is because I forced her to let me. Today, she went to my husband's aunt's house. The aunt lives very close to our house and visits almost every day. She loves my son and always comes to meet him. Today, my son was taking a nap when my mother-in-law left, and when he woke up, I decided to take him there too. I wanted to surprise them, which is why I quietly opened the entrance door, which we live in a very safe neighborhood and always leave our main doors open, and could hear from the living room. They couldn't see me as I was removing my slippers to enter. Just before I come into their view, I heard the aunt say, when my brother-in-law's fiancée gets married and moves into the family, the fiancée is the aunt's niece, she will handle the family well. My mother-in-law answered, yeah, my name doesn't know how to do anything. cannot even cook. To which the aunt replied, yes, my name has no idea how to do anything. I literally wanted to turn around and leave. I was completely numb and my body just moved forward and they all saw me. The aunt just jumped into excitement and ran to grab my son, whereas my mother-in-law had a very awkward, dumbfounded kind of expression. I wanted to cry. This was exactly what my mother used to fear, and I always said that my mother-in-law would never say such things. I'm so devastated to think that she was talking about this behind my back. She did not meet my eyes when I was there, and I wanted to cry so bad. I'm trying my best. She knows I'm young and cannot do so many things at once. She always told me to take my time and is saying such awful things about me behind my back. I keep thinking why she even asked my hand when she knew all these things. I know it's not a big deal, but it's just all I can think about right now. Not even sure if I should talk about this to anybody. Definitely not my mum because she trusts her best friend a lot. I don't even know if sharing this with my husband is okay. Now, you said it's not a big deal, but it is a big deal because they've hurt you with what they are doing. They're talking, they're gossiping behind your back like this. And obviously I don't know the full ins and outs of your lives. I only know this very small piece that we've read here. But I feel like you should definitely speak to your husband about what's been going on, for one, and even talk to your mum about it. You know, that's her best friend that's talking shit about you behind your back. And I'm just wondering if she has a history of this kind of behavior. But if a mystery says, have you talked to your husband about this? Opie says, not yet. It's just happened a few hours ago. It's 1 a.m. and I'm waiting for my husband to be back from work. I can't decide if I should talk to him or not. Lady Polaris says she feels guilty and that you're in. I'm going to sound really manipulative here, but that's how you win the game. She saw you, you saw that she saw you, so there's no point pretending it didn't happen. What you have to do is go to her and tell the truth. Let yourself cry. Really play up to how lucky you felt to have her and how much you respect her. How awful you felt knowing she thinks you aren't good at anything and that you thought she was proud of you. Make her squirm. If she has any sense of decency, she'll be ashamed that she has stopped talking shit about you. Then start teaching yourself to cook. If my 70-year-old white dad can make a tasty meal, then I promise you, you can too. Start small. Sufficient Proposal says don't ask if you can cook. If you want to make a meal for yourself or your husband, do it. If not, let these comments roll off your back and carry on. Realistically, mother-in-law must get tired of cooking for 7 who eat a lot and was just venting. Her deer in the headlights sorry look indicate that she knows she was wrong for saying these things. If she really felt this way, she'd probably be unapologetic about it. Hope things get better and that you continue to be happy and do things that you're interested in. So Opie comes in with their first update and says, I'm so devastated and so disappointed. Maybe I'm overreacting, but I just want to leave and go to my mum. So I stayed up until 2 a.m. to talk to my husband, but he did not come, so I just went to sleep. As soon as he woke up, I sat him down and burst into tears. I told him everything I felt and why I felt that way. He stayed quiet. I told him that I want to learn how to cook, but not instantly because it's not the easiest thing, especially with a 6-month-old that practically doesn't let me leave him with anybody else. My husband quietly listened. He even said he did not mind whether I cooked or not. He said he will never force me to learn, definitely not until the baby gets older. This made me think he was understanding me. When I shared how his mother and aunt were talking about me, he simply said, I don't see what they said wrong. I continued to explain how she could have talked directly to me, but instead said I don't know how to do anything behind my back. I tried to make him understand that she always told me I could take my time, yet expects me to learn quickly. He just laughed and said I was overreacting and that all women gossip. I was baffled. Tears in my eyes, I left the room. It's not that big of a deal, but it's a shame that my husband did not understand how stupid I felt after hearing that. I got busy doing chores for my son. My husband has no office today, so he was just chilling. I was washing the dishes when my mother-in-law came and told me to come in my room because she wanted to talk. I got nervous because I'm a non-confrontational person. We sat down and she kept going on and on about how she wants what is best for me. She kept giving reasons why she said what she said. She kept cutting me off and said all I was trying to say was that she should have shared her thoughts with me and not someone else. She just wouldn't listen to me. In the end, she complained how I shouldn't have told my husband about this. She said I'm trying to cause problems between them. I was speechless. I said that if she could talk about me to someone else, then I could talk about her to my husband. She started getting angry at this point and said that I was being rude and maybe this is my true face. She said that she did not expect me to be such a typical daughter-in-law who causes issues between her husband and his mother. She said I cannot believe what I brought into my house, and before I could answer, she left. I cried and cried. When my husband came into the room, he had a worried expression and asked me what happened. I just told him I want to go home. Currently packing my baby stuff so I can go to my mum's. I've never felt this hurt by someone's behavior. My husband is trying to calm me down, but I just want to leave. I do not know what is going to happen now, but I know for sure I cannot live with this woman anymore. And we have another update which is a couple of weeks later, but first Leather Prestigious says, wow, your husband is such a mama's boy. He brushed off your feelings and said it's just a woman's gossip. The worst thing is he agreed with what they said, that you couldn't do anything. Both husband and mother-in-law sucks. Ugh. OP, this is what your life is going to be in the future with your spineless husband and two-faced mother-in-law. Better talk to your husband to fix his attitude or leave. No one deserves to be with a stupid husband who doesn't know how to defend his wife. Ew. OP says yes he is, and that is what hurts me way more than what his mother said. I'm at my mum's place now. I'm going to take a long rest and then decide what needs to be done. Jessa says, they always have to turn it back on you. You're the problem, never them. Very sad. I hope you're the best. OP says, exactly. I'm so hurt and I told my mum everything. She's also very upset and is going to talk to my mother-in-law. I feel so lost. So OP's update comes a couple of weeks later and says, okay, wow. I was not expecting my story to be featured on a podcast. Just woke up and saw some new comments and people were asking for a new update, so here it is. I'm still at my mum's place. It's been officially 2 whole weeks that I've been staying here. And while that may sound things are not going okay, I'm glad to say things are so much better than I could have imagined. I came up my mum's and told her everything. She was furious and wanted to call my mother-in-law. But I got weirdly scared, I don't know why, and told her to wait. I'm so bad at confrontations and get very nervous. After 2 days of crying and crying, my mum had had enough and she talked to my mother-in-law. Mother-in-law was very weird and kept trying to change the subject constantly, saying that whatever happened is in the past now. I was so heartbroken. My mum was angry and told her that I would not be going back to that house ever again, and that finally broke my mother-in-law, and she started apologizing for what had happened. I know she was only apologizing because she wanted to keep a good perception of herself around others. My mother hung up, and that is the last conversation we had with my mother-in-law. I'm still beating myself up over how I should have talked to her myself too. But I also think that since they were the ones who got us married, they should handle this too. I don't know. During these days, my husband had visited every day, texts and calls all the time, and has stayed over for 3 days too. I believe it's his way of showing support. We've started to look for apartments that is affordable and suitable for our small family. We don't have a lot of money, but we are trying, and my parents are also willing to help. I haven't felt this happy and loved ever. Life seems to be finally moving the right way. I've realized that marriage should not happen like this. This stupid arranged marriage culture needs to be illegal. I'm lucky to have such a lovely husband, but things could have easily gone wrong. I will never be the mother who wants to rule over my son's life. My son is a human and I will treat him as such. Now on to the Hot Takes podcast. I like their advice and I'm very grateful they shared my story. However, I do not want to be the bigger person here. I just refuse to be. Because while I'm sure I would be welcome to that house whenever, but these things will not go away. My mother-in-law will be good for a little while, but I'm sure she will go back to her ways. They were very kind in understanding me, and I'm so thankful for the advice in the comment section. I hope my little family stays mine forever. Good Insurance says on the back of that one, yes, I love this update. I feel like moving out is the best option because your husband still loves and supports you and isn't trying to change you like your mother-in-law. I love that you have a beautiful support system to lift you up. Ace Evergreen says, glad you're in a happier place, OP, and that your family is rallying around you. Regardless of being the bigger person, you're taking steps to protect your family and deserve all the praise for that. Kudos to you, OP. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now, you bloody cheeky so-and-sos, you're always sending me stories of neighbors because you know how much I get into that sort of stuff. Our next story is an Am I the Arsehole post about a neighbor. No update on it. But if you dangle that neighbor carrot in front of me, it sounds wrong. I'm biting. This one's from Surfer Girl 7681 and says, am I the arsehole for telling my neighbor I'm not a babysitter over the summer? I, 38 female, have a neighbor. We call her Sarah, 38 female. I'm married with 2 girls, 8 and 11. She has 2 boys, 8 and 12. Sarah is married, but her husband travels a lot for work and she works from home. I'm a teacher, so I have school breaks and summers off. Over winter break, Sarah's kids kept coming over to see if my kids could play. Play means they have been sent over because they're annoying mum and she's trying to work. Backstory, the kids were friends when they were younger, but as they got older, they don't really have much in common and they've drifted apart. Her kids go to a parochial school and my kids go to public school, so they don't even have teachers or classmates in common. They don't even have a ton in common anymore, and when they do play, Sarah's kids fight. A lot. With each other and with my kids. One day over winter break, the younger one came to my door to see if my kids could play, and I told them they didn't want to play right now. Sarah sent me a text saying that she was on a work call and she could really use some time with the boys out of the house. I caved and told my girls to just try and find something they could do together. 10 minutes later, my oldest came upstairs crying, saying that one of the boys made a nasty comment about how boring our house was, and it was dumb that I wouldn't let him play Xbox. The Xbox is my husband's, and it's our family room where I was doing laundry and watching a show. I told the boys if they were bored, they were more than welcome to leave. Now it's almost spring break, and Sarah just asked if I could watch the boys 2 days because she has 2 busy work days and I'm off work. I told her no because we would be on vacation in Florida visiting family. She said okay and jokingly said, I guess I'll just hit you up in the summer. I replied and said that I will not be babysitting her kids over the summer. True emergency, sure. I said I'm sorry, but just because I'm not at school during the summer does not mean I'm your free childcare. Yes, I don't physically go to work over the summer, but I take online classes for my masters and I teach online summer school, meaning I'm also working from home. She blew up at me and told me I should help her because she's alone a lot, and now that the kids are older, it's harder to keep them entertained all day. I told her that I didn't care if the kids played together outside during the summer, but I was not going to be a caretaker or responsible for her kids unless she was going to compensate me. I tried explaining to her that the kids do not get along the way that they used to. My kids don't fight with each other the way her kids fight with each other, and my kids don't really want them to be at our house all the time. Now she's pissed and not speaking, and her oldest told my oldest that I'm not a good person because I won't help my neighbor. Am I really the arsehole because I won't watch her kids over the summer? Absolutely not the arsehole at all. The bloody cheeky so-and-so. And I hate this shit when people say, you know, because you're a teacher, you have the summers off. That really pisses me off. As I said in some of our older stories, I have a teacher friend and I can tell you that they work fucking hard during the summer. The amount of planning that has to be done for their upcoming term, etc. And I think that you are accommodating in the best way possible. You said, you know, true emergencies, sure, but you can't force your kids to be together, especially when they don't get along together anymore either. If they don't get along, there's going to be fights, and that means you have to step in and look after them even more. And quite frankly, it's not fair on the kids either to force them together when they don't get along with them. It's as simple as that. Can you imagine the audacity of that neighbor sat there and asking this kind of thing? I guess I'll just hit you up in the summer. Oof. No, you bloody won't, you gobshite. Antique Shop says, not the arsehole. Nah. Just tell your daughter to tell him he has a bad mum who can't even watch them when she's home. See how she likes that. Or that he's such a bad kid that good neighbors won't watch them for free in the summer. Also, what does her opinion mean for you? It should mean nothing. This is a one-way relationship where she takes and takes. What do you get in return? The Good Neighbor Award. Clever Girl says, normally I don't care if people have a negative opinion of me. However, we do have a lot of mutual friends and she is very gossipy, and I am not so. I'm more concerned that she'd be bad-mouthing me to other people. I know I shouldn't be concerned about that because I know the other people know that she's a drama queen, but it still bothers me. And I'm not sure why, but a little unrelated, it's neighbor based, but it's unrelated to what just happened, but it just literally popped into my head. It freaked me out, so now I'm going to freak you out. You're welcome. If you're eating, by the way, you might want to skip it. And I think I may have told this before in another story, but when the images pop into my head, I have to tell it. I've told you about my area. When I was younger, everyone used to get on with one another. There was lots of arguments and fights between various neighbors, but generally people got on for the most part, and our front doors were literally left wide open at times, and people would wander in and out of people's houses, and it was lovely like that. Sometimes. And neighbors would wander in each other's houses and they would have a bit of a natter, a bit of a gossip about what's going on in the area. There's just me sat in the corner listening in, you know. I'm a people watcher. Just sat there absorbing all the drama. And it's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon one day, and my dad sat in the chair. I'm sat like at the base of the chair, just between his legs with my dinner on my lap, just eating away. Dad's eating his. We're watching something on the TV. Mum sat in her armchair to the right, and, you know, then we got the sofa across the other side of the room. And suddenly a neighbor, let's call her Jessica, walks in, probably late 30s, maybe early 40s at this point. She comes flying into the living room. She sits down on her sofa and, you know, starts saying something about, have you heard about this? And I can't remember exactly what she said, because at the same time she's doing this, and you know, like when you get like tunnel vision and you're looking at something, you can't hear anything around you. It's sort of like all muffles. That was happening to me because as I said, I was sat there with my dinner sort of like on my knees eating away. And this bloody cheeky so-and-so, she lifts her feet onto the sofa at the same time. So like she's like almost like into a ball. And then she's picking at her toenails and like pulling them off and then chucking them on the floor in our house. And I honestly can't remember if anyone said anything. I just remember sort of looking around and seeing my parents staring at her toes at the same time, thinking, what the fuck is going on? I remember just getting up and going into my room and trying to eat in there after seeing that. You know, that's horrified me for years. Again, not really high stakes drama, but just a little piece of the sort of shit that we used to see. But anyway, now I'm going to turn that last story to you guys. What do you guys make of the situation? Not the toenails, of course. I don't need to hear about that shit again. It already haunts my mind. But just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories. Your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being involved. Truly, you're absolutely amazing. Keep being amazing, and I will see you in the next one. Take care and much love.